Everyone in the room, there's probably 300 of us on the deck of P. Diddy's, I'm gonna show you, on P. Diddy's boat, New Year's Eve. I went from one ship, Happy New Year. So I hung out with Tyson and next ship, there's Drake. This ship had P. Diddy. He had his guy, his videographer, they're listening to music. And he says, hey, Cube, listen, you wanna hear P. Diddy's new song? I said, yeah, sure. Sit down next to him. They didn't use this angle, which to me makes me laugh because I go, oh, I get it. You made it look the way you wanted it to look.
It's the most ridiculous thing ever.
Because you barely know
This is the
right?
most ridiculous thing ever. But again, welcome to being a celebrity. Welcome to my work.
But when you give up your manhood, I've never seen somebody recover from it. That was all the people that went to the puffy parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing. Got punked out and pimped out by some greater desire. You don't have a greater desire than being a man.
I'm here for a reason. And I know that as long as I do what I do and I'm good at what I do and I'm passionate about what I do, God's will be.
Welcome back to your daily dose of scandal and glamour. Let's spill the tea on today's biggest celebrity stories. Terrence Howard just blew the lid off something wild. He claimed Diddy kept trying to get with him, and now folks are coming for his neck. One of the first to pop off? Cuba Gooding Jr. And let's just say, he didn't hold back. See, Cuba and Diddy been tight for years, like real tight. So tight that Cuba even got caught up in one of Diddy's lawsuits, where he was accused of making moves on one of the guys at the party. Ever since that mess, Cuba's been out here scrambling to clean up his name, and Terrence's bombshell, yeah, it just dragged his name right back into the mud. It all kicked off when Terrence got real about how rough it is to be a man in Hollywood. He's known for speaking his mind, even when it sounds out there. But this time, people were really listening. He opened up about being chased by Diddy, literally. He said it got to a point where Diddy wouldn't take no for an answer and kept trying to get him in private. Terrence had to run, straight up escape. And here's the kicker. Putting distance between him and Diddy came with a price. Big studios stopped calling, deals vanished, and people in the industry started treating him like he was the problem. But Terrence stood 10 toes down. He said walking away from that scene was the only way to keep his manhood and his soul intact. While Terrence was spilling his truth, he didn't just aim at Diddy. He low-key shaded other dudes in Diddy's circle too. Folks like Cuba Gooding Jr. definitely felt that heat. Terrence made it clear, this wasn't just about one man. He said a whole bunch of dudes had to trade in their pride just to get ahead in Hollywood. Yeah, he really said some of these men gave up their manhood just to sit at the table. The internet went absolutely wild after that. Some folks clapped for Terrence, calling him brave for finally speaking on what's really been going down in the shadows. But others, they weren't feeling it at all. They said he should have kept it zipped and stayed quiet, like most people do when it comes to these power moves behind the scenes. But Terrence wasn't backing down, not even a little. He fired back quick, saying if anyone had the guts to call him a liar, then they better come with that same energy he had telling the truth. He said he wasn't afraid, and if the industry wanted to come for him, then let them try. Now here's where it gets messy. Diddy's trial kicked off on May 5th, and everybody's locked in. Folks are watching closely to see who's getting exposed next on that mysterious FBI list with celeb names tied to Diddy. Word is, some of these stars already took hits to their rep. A few even dipped out the country or completely vanished. 'Cause let's be honest, people are shook. Anybody heard from Stevie J or Cuba Gooding Jr. lately? 'Cause both of them been real quiet. Now Cuba might seem like a faded name now, but back in the 90s, he was that guy. Right up there with Will Smith. Cuba had the looks, the charm, and the roles to back it up. After crushing it in hit films, he even bagged an Oscar for Jerry Maguire. For a minute, it really looked like he was about to be one of the rare black men to truly break through in Hollywood. But somewhere along the way, things went off the rails, and fast. His downfall started showing when folks noticed his wild partying, heavy drinking, and a serious weakness for chasing after Becky's. Then came the lawsuits, stacked one after the other. By 2013, Cuba was already knee-deep in legal trouble, eventually settling a civil case involving a serious accusation of misconduct. But that was just the beginning. Reports say over 30 women came forward, claiming he had crossed lines with them too. Authorities confirmed the accusations, and what the public saw, that was just scratching the surface. In 2022, it got even worse. Cuba was back in court again. this time pleading guilty to a misdemeanor. The court ordered him into a 6-month counseling program for alcohol and behavior issues. That move was supposed to be part of his comeback plan, but Hollywood wasn't having it. He tried to switch up his image, talking about finding faith and turning his life around. But the damage had already been done. Big studios shut their doors, and Cuba's name pretty much disappeared from the A-list forever. But let's be real, that's the playbook in Hollywood. Every time a celeb starts acting super holy out of nowhere, it usually means they're trying to cover up something deep. And with Cuba Gooding Jr., it didn't take long to see exactly what he was running from. The lawsuits tied to Diddy cracked it all wide open, and Cuba's name was right there in the mess. In a twist nobody saw coming, Lil Rod straight up dropped Cuba's name in his lawsuit against Diddy. Yeah, he claimed Cuba harassed and disrespected him during one of Diddy's infamous yacht parties back in 2023. That's when things got real, because up until that point, most folks only knew about Cuba's issues with women. But Lil Rod's story flipped the whole narrative. Just like Diddy, Cuba allegedly had a taste for men too. According to the legal docs, Diddy was treating Lil Rod like a pawn, getting ready to pass him off to Cuba like some kind of plaything. Lil Rod said Cuba started touching his legs and thighs, while Diddy stood off to the side, watching everything go down without lifting a finger to stop it. And get this, there were photos backing the whole claim. Cuba didn't waste no time firing back. He ran to the nearest interview and called the whole thing a joke. He said it was all fake, just lies meant to drag him down. But here's the problem. Every time he spoke, he looked shook. He couldn't stay on topic, kept tripping over his words, and the nervous energy, off the charts. People could tell he was hiding something big. He just didn't want it getting out. And now, folks are digging even deeper into Cuba's past, because once your name gets linked to Diddy's dark side, there's no going back. People started looking at old interviews, paparazzi footage, even behind-the-scenes clips, and the more they watched, the more they realized Cuba had been showing signs for years. He wasn't just wild in at parties. He was always around when things got shady. Insiders are whispering that Cuba wasn't just some tag-along. He was deep in the mix. Allegedly, he'd show up to Diddy's secret gatherings, the ones with no phones, no cameras, and no press allowed. You know the type. The ones where folks say initiation rituals went down. And Cuba, he wasn't just there. He was part of it. Now that Lil Rod pulled his name into the spotlight, Cuba's old Hollywood circle is ghosting him left and right. Directors won't pick up the phone, producers cutting ties, and even some of his day one homies are acting like they don't know him. That Oscar he won, people say it feels like a distant memory now. Some are saying this whole thing is karma catching up. Others think Cuba's just a scapegoat in a much bigger game, someone being tossed under the bus to protect names higher up. But either way, the damage is done. Once the public starts connecting dots, it's almost impossible to shake off the suspicion. And now that Cuba's name is officially on that Diddy list, folks are just waiting to see who's next to get dragged into the madness. Because if even half of these stories are true, then Hollywood's about to get hit with a storm it can't cover up. But Cat didn't back down. And in his recent interview on Joe Rogan's podcast, he doubled down on everything he's been saying for years about the twisted games in Hollywood. Cat made it clear. Folks are so focused on him talking about a dress, but that ain't the point. He said straight up, the dress is just a symbol. It's all about control. According to Cat, it ain't really about fashion or personal style. It's about showing the world who's willing to play the game. That game, submission, obedience, and silence. He said the powerful people behind the scenes use those moments to test who's willing to fold. And wearing a dress in front of cameras, that's just step one. But then Cat went even deeper. He said the Hollywood system is built on rituals, some public, most private. And those who speak out, they get silenced, blacklisted, or worse. He told Joe, they want you desperate enough to say yes to anything, and then they own you. Cat even said that when he didn't play along, his career took a hit, offers dried up, projects got pulled, and he became the crazy guy in every interview. But now, with everything coming out about Diddy and his circle, Cat's starting to look more like a truth teller than a conspiracy nut. He warned that this isn't just about Diddy, it's about a whole system of manipulation that's been running Hollywood for decades. And now that people are finally listening, he's not letting up. Cat didn't stop there. He took it up a notch and said flat out that these so-called humiliation rituals aren't just rumors, they're the entry fee for fame. He said people don't just blow up overnight for no reason. There's always a price behind the spotlight. According to him, once you sign up for that Hollywood life, there's a point where you gotta prove your loyalty, and it usually ain't pretty. He talked about celebs being forced into situations that strip away their pride, things caught on camera, whispered about in private rooms, or laughed off like inside jokes at elite parties. Kat said it's all part of a system built to break you down and rebuild you in their image. And the wildest part? He claims some stars actually volunteer for it. He said the fame, the checks, the red carpets, it's got folks so hungry, they'll do whatever it takes. Some even convince themselves it's just part of the grind. But Kat said that ain't no grind. It's a trap dressed up like opportunity. He also called out other comedians and actors who've stayed quiet, saying they know exactly what's going on, but won't say a word because they don't want to lose their spots. He dared them to speak up and stop hiding behind contracts and brand deals, because if more people started talking like he is, the whole machine might finally crack. And Kat made one thing clear. He ain't scared of losing it all, because he already paid the price without selling out. And just when people thought Kat was done, he turned the fire up even higher. He started naming names, saying that some of the biggest faces in entertainment have done things behind closed doors that would shock the world. Kat said these aren't just rumors, these are things he's seen with his own eyes. He claimed some top-tier actors and musicians went through the same shady initiation process. Private rooms, strange contracts, creepy favors. He didn't spill every name, but the way he hinted, yeah, people were quick to start connecting the dots. Then he said something that had folks straight up frozen. Kat claimed that for certain roles or big endorsements, there are secret deals involved, stuff that has nothing to do with talent. He said, "You ever wonder why the same 5 people keep getting picked for everything? It ain't luck, it's loyalty to the system." Social media exploded. People started pulling old photos, clips from red carpet events and weird late-night interviews, trying to match Kat's clues. And the comments? Savage. Folks were calling out celebs they once worshipped, now questioning what they did to reach the top. Meanwhile, Kat was chilling, like he already knew this was coming. He said he's been blackballed before, so what's another round? He's got nothing to lose and everything to expose. And if what he's saying is even half true, then the whole Hollywood pyramid might be built on secrets, silence, and sold-out souls. Kat's message? If I'm going down, I'm taking the truth with me. Now the pressure is really starting to rise, because the more Kat talks, the more people start acting funny. Like clockwork, some of the celebs he hinted at suddenly went silent online. A few even wiped their pages clean. No posts, no updates. Ghosted. That move alone had fans screaming guilty before any proof even hit the surface. But then things got even weirder. Industry insiders began leaking whispers about a cleanup happening behind the scenes. Word is, some execs are scrambling to cover their tracks, deleting files, pulling deals, and distancing themselves from certain celebs who were regulars at Diddy's events. You can almost feel the panic in the air. Meanwhile, Kat's over here cool as ever, like he's already made peace with whatever's coming. He even said in a follow-up live stream, "I told y'all 10 years ago, now look what's happening. I ain't scared of nobody in a suit." And that's what really hit people. Kat's been calling out the game since day one, back when they laughed him off and called him paranoid. But now, every time he speaks, another scandal pops up. Another name gets dragged in. Another tape accidentally leaks. It's looking less like a conspiracy and more like a playbook finally being exposed. And if Kat's got more tea to spill, then the whole industry better brace itself, because he's not done shaking tables yet. And now people are digging even deeper, because the timing of everything, it's just too perfect to ignore. Right after Kat exposed all the industry games, boom, Shannon Sharpe suddenly found himself in the middle of another scandal. And guess who's sitting pretty on the sidelines again? Kevin Hart. Insiders been whispering that Kevin's been moving slick, getting real cozy with the same execs who've been trying to shut Kat down and replace anybody that steps out of line. See, Kat already put it out there that Kevin became the guy they handpicked once others got blackballed, and now it's looking like Shannon might be the next one they trying to swap out. Kevin's over here stacking brand deals, new shows, and rubbing shoulders with top dogs like nothing's going on, while Shannon's name keeps getting dragged through mess after mess. From lawsuits to viral clips to shady leaks, it's all hitting back to back. 2 back to back. What's really got folks side-eyeing the whole thing is how Gabriela Zuniga's lawsuit dropped right after Shannon publicly gave Kat his flowers. Yeah, the moment he showed support for Kat, the drama started raining down. Coincidence? A lot of people don't think so. And with Kevin's name always floating nearby, untouched, unbothered, it's making people wonder, is he just lucky or playing a whole different game behind closed doors? Because it's starting to feel like the folks getting torn down are the same ones who dared to speak up. And in Hollywood, that's when you know the machine's turning on you. Now that Diddy's empire is crumbling and his fate's about to be decided in court, the folks tied to him are sweating bullets behind the scenes. Everybody's wondering, who's getting dragged in next? Cuba Gooding Jr. already caught smoke in Lil Rod's lawsuit, and let's be real, it wouldn't shock anybody if more dirt comes out on him. And with Terrence Howard refusing to stay quiet, Cuba's scrambling. Despite knowing Terrence for years, he's now calling him a liar, saying he's just chasing clout and trying to ride the Diddy downfall wave. But let's cut the nonsense. Between the lawsuits, the witness stories, and those damning pictures, it's hard to believe the image Cuba's trying to sell. This ain't looking good for him at all. And just when Cuba thought he could outtalk the situation, the internet flipped the script. Memes started flying. Comments flooded in. One viral post even said, "What if Cuba wasn't acting in radio? What if that's who he really is?" That hit hard. Cuba tried to look calm, tried to sound collected, but every word out of his mouth screams damage control. He's been looking drained, stumbling through interviews, and it's clear this whole thing got him shook. Meanwhile, Terrence, who's been through the fire himself, is standing tall. People used to clown him for being weird, but now he's looking more like one of the few who never folded. So the question is, do you believe Cuba's side of the story? Or is this just the beginning of his real truth finally coming to light? And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to stay in the loop with all the latest tea. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an update, and I'll catch you in the next video.